Hello everyone, my name is Marcy.
And I'm Michael, and welcome back to Seize the Veg.
Today we're going to be making a vegan Alfredo sauce, and it's going to be pretty much making the whole thing from scratch, so Michael's going to be my camera guy.
I will be behind the camera trying to follow Marcy as she guides you step by step on how to make this wonderful and delicious tasting meal.
So let's get started. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to need to do to prepare for your vegan Alfredo is going to be soaking the cashews. I like to get cashew pieces. Two reasons. One, they're generally cheaper. And two, I'm going to be blending them anyway, so you might as well get the pieces. So you're going to take, there we go. This is 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to do 2. There we go. Now, I like to soak them in the Garbanzo beans. This is a 15.5 ounce can of Garbanzo beans. You can find them almost anywhere. Try to look and make sure they're not very high in sodium. No sodium or low sodium is best. So here we go. We're going to take with the juice. And I'm going to add a little water, just a very small amount to make sure I get all of that nice bean juice out of there. And you can see the cashews, they're covered, they're mixed in here. The last ingredient that's going to go into the blender have artichoke hearts. These are marinated in oil. You can find them in water. I don't mind so much the oil because this is going to be the only oil that goes in the recipe. I'm going to take 1/2 cup. I already measured. This is what they look like in their pieces. Without the oil, I drained as much oil off as possible. There's a little in there. We're going to take that. Here we go. Give it a little stir. You can see. You want to make sure that your cashews are completely covered. You can see. Not quite. I'm going to add just a little more water on top. There we go. Now, on a regular day, you need to do this for at least an hour. If you have a high-powered blender, you can get away with about an hour. If you're using something like a NutriBullet or maybe not quite a very powerful blender, 2 hours would be better. You can just put it into the refrigerator. Soaking the cashews longer is going to help you have a creamier consistency. However, if you are pressed for time, it's a weeknight or you just don't want to wait, I'm going to show you a nice little trick. These are cashew pieces, like I mentioned. I'm going to turn this on, and we're just going to pulse it about 4 times. It's going to break the cashews into even smaller pieces, so that way they're going to soak up the moisture from the beans and the artichoke a lot faster. You can probably get away with doing about 30 minutes of soaking, although you do need to have a high-powered blender. So there, I did a few pulses for that. This is going to be the base, the cream part of your Alfredo sauce. Okay, now that our cashews are soaking with the garbanzos and artichokes, that is going to create the cream mixture that is your Alfredo sauce. It's replacing any and all of the dairy. So no Parmesan, no butter, no heavy cream, none of that stuff. That is going to give you a good replacement for those things. You can just put that on noodles and, call it a day, have yourself a fettuccine Alfredo. However, we like to kick it up a notch. So we're going to start with, this is a splurge purchase that I do have. It's my cast iron stop pot. There's a small amount of oil in this because it is cast iron, and you just have to do that for the seasoning of the cast iron. So I like this one too because it has a glass lid and I can watch what's happening. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on here to medium and get started cutting up my onions. All right, so these onions here, these are sweet Vidalia onions. A little trick I will tell you, look for flatter rather than round onions. They're less likely to make you cry, which is kind of a big deal. These are kind of small, so I'm going to do 1.5 onions here. They're already peeled. I like to cut these in half, like this. Can you get a close up? So then we're going to take here and we're going to just and guess what? Close up. No tears. Haha. Okay, so my oil, it's in here. The pan is nice and hot. Got the onions. Oh, yeah. There we go. Get those in here. Quick stir. And I'm going to add, instead of adding any more oil, I'm going to add a little bit of just water. Can you come closer? There we go. Now, we're going to let those cook. It's going to be a few minutes while I cut up the mushrooms. Put the lid on to keep all that moisture inside. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be adding to this is cut up mushrooms. I like to mix the regular white mushrooms and the baby bellas. This is going to be about 24 ounces of mushrooms here. You can get them already cut up in a couple of 12-ounce packages, mix and match however you want. But this is going to be good. I'll show you up close. You don't have to be super exact with these guys because they will cook down tremendously. This is going to add the meaty texture to your sauce. All right, so my onions have been cooking for a couple of minutes while I cut up the mushrooms. Let's take a quick, oh yeah, they're just starting to be a little clear. Exactly what we want. Give this a stir. See, you did not need any extra oil, just that little bit of water. So we're going to take, let's see here. I'm going to add the rest of this little bit of water. You can hear it's still sizzling a little bit. We don't want it to stick. Now we're going to cover this. Give this about 3 minutes, and then we're going to add our seasoning. It's been about 3.5, 4 minutes. I'm going to take a look here. What you're looking for at this point is what's called sweating. You can see the mushrooms starting to draw out the moisture. Onions are getting a little clear. This is a good sign. There we go. Now I'm going to add my seasoning. I'm going to start with sea salt. I'm going to do, now since my cashews had no salt and my beans had no salt, I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon of salt. If your beans or your nuts are salted, you may want to go less. Salt's very subjective, so you're going to have to make your own call on this. I'd start with less. You can always add. Next, we have, this is granulated garlic. Also going to add a teaspoon. Here we go. Oh, yes. Okay. Then I'm going to add, don't be shocked, this adds incredible flavor. You're gonna be good here. Since these are flakes, it's just really dehydrated onion pieces. We're going to do a tablespoon. Sprinkle that on there. It's also going to soak up some of the water. Last thing, we have pepper. I like to grind mine fresh, so we're just going to do a good thing here. You can do an arm workout doing this too. Haha. There we go. Then we're going to start. That was probably about half a teaspoon if you're measuring. Going to stir this in. Oh, it's It's already starting to smell.
The smell is incredible.
Yes. And I'm going to add a little more since I added the dried onion pieces. I'm going to add some more water in here. You want to keep the bottom covered in liquid. Now we're going to put the lid back on. Okay, so while my mushrooms and onions are cooking, I'm going to turn it down on low, let that go for probably about 10 or 15 minutes just to really get some good flavor out of that. I'm going to go ahead. This is the beans, cashews, and artichoke mixture. I'm just going to give it another quick pulse just to make sure all of that stuff's soaking in nicely. And then, since we've got a few minutes here and it's finally stopped raining, I wonder if I have some girls that want to go for a walk. Does Lola and Zoey want to go for a walk? Why don't you ask them?
No, there she is.
There she is. So I'm going to turn my mushrooms on low. Let that simmer. I added some extra water to it. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pot on to boil the water. Get that going. I gave my cashews an extra little pulse. And now we're going to take these girls for a quick 10-minute walk. Okay, we just got back from walking the dogs, and the smell was incredible. Oh, yeah. There we go. Look at this. You can see the color cooked down. We still have plenty of moisture. This is good. All right, and our water for boiling, keep that on low heat. Oh, yeah, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead. We've got, not sure if I'm saying it right, cashew pasta. There we go. It's got 10 minutes. Give myself a timer. Give us a stir. I'm going to get the peas and the sun-dried tomatoes ready. All right, so we are going to add a nice green color to this with organic peas. These are just frozen peas, nothing else in here, no salt or anything. It's about 1.5 cups here. I'm going to put them in the colander and then just run some water over here. Oh, look at this color. This is good. There we go. Just to kind of start defrosting that. This is going to be the last thing I add. Frozen peas are already cooked, so you don't want them cold. Or maybe you do. And then I'm going to take and add some sun-dried tomatoes into the sauce, or the mushroom and onion mixture right now. Oh, this is good. How's the smell, Michael?
It is so enticing. I'm ready for lunch here myself.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to we'll get these in. Put this into the water. They'll start kind of coming back to life a little bit here. Get that here. Keep the lid on so we don't lose any of that goodness. I'm going to give my noodles a stir. We're getting close. There we go. Oh, look at these guys. Beautiful. All right, one last thing before your noodles finish. Give it a stir. I'm almost there. Want you to take a measuring cup, something you can handle, and keep back. A cup's maybe going to be a bit much, but go ahead and scoop out. Here we go. About 1 cup of the pasta water. We're saving that for when we blend the cashews, artichokes, and garbanzos. All right, I dumped the noodles. They're draining. I'm going to give this one last, oh God, it smells good. Wish you could smell this. One last little check before we hit the blender. You come see, we've got a nice color broth. I am going to give this a little taste to adjust. Here we go. Okay. We're going to come over here now. Oh, that's good. Now, I want you to get a close-up shot. Okay. Now, I'll give you a peek what we look like. I've pulsed it a few times if you'll remember, so it's already kind of in pieces. It's going to be loud, totally worth the magic. Here we go. All right, that was high speed for right at a minute. How beautiful is this?
And
this is good.
Smells delicious.
And we're going to take this right over. And we're going to add this. Here you see. We're just going to pour it right on top. I'm going to stir this in. We're going to add our peas. This oil that you're seeing on here comes from the sun-dried tomatoes. You can get sun-dried tomatoes that are completely dry, so you're not going to have any of this added oil. But since this and the oil from the artichokes is the only oil added to this, we're okay with that. If you're trying to watch your calories a little more, get them packed in water or just completely dry. Look at this consistency. Now I'm going to put the lid back on this. Let it heat through for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so depending on your blender, you may end up with some extra goodie in here. This is part of why I recommended keeping some noodle water back. Just a hint of that. It's not much at all. And I'm going to put it back on just to try to get all I can out of this. As you can see, now I kind of have almost cashew milk here. I'm going to add the last little bit of this. There we go. Waste not, want not. Now, vegan Alfredo, no butter, no cheese, no heavy cream of any sort. Oh, this by itself is really good, but why not take it up a notch and add any types of vegetables that you like. Onions and mushrooms create a wonderful broth that you're going to be able to cook with. As you can see, you'll need a little extra water. But have fun, experiment, go nuts. Pick some colors and enjoy. We're going to plate this bad boy and show you what it looks like. All right, we got our noodles. Sauce is hot. We had some nice bubbles to it. There we go. Michael, my cameraman here, he says he loves his swimming in sauce. I like mine a little dry, so this is his. I'm going to show you. This is gorgeous. One added thing I'm going to tell you. This is a good opportunity to get some of your nutritional yeast. This has a buttery, almost cheesy flavor to it. It's a nice bonus here of B12. You can see what the flakes look like. So a few different brands of this. It's also called hippie dust. Say we tasted it. This is good seasoning for us. I will show you. Pepper, garlic, salt. These are grinders. I put these on the table because we don't really like to have too much salt in our food. Other people want more. That's the beauty of this. It's got a nice balanced flavor to it. However, you can see how easy these guys are. You can find these in your grocery store. You do just a nice little grinding right there. Same thing with the pepper. Everyone's going to be happy. It's a good foundation. And it's always easier to add salt. It's very difficult to try to overcome too much salt. So err on the side of caution. Okay, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Seize the Veg. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about anything that we've shown you today, please leave us a comment below. Also, if you like us, please give us a thumbs up. Is it good?
2 thumbs up. Delicious. Try it. It is an amazing alternative to the traditional fettuccine Alfredo. Well worth the effort, I promise you.
Good. And hopefully you'll find it's not too much effort once you get all the right ingredients. A good blender is going to make all the difference in the world. Even if you don't have a great blender, like I said, just soak the stuff for maybe a couple of hours even, and you'll get a good texture from it. Anyway, also, please subscribe if you like us. We're working hard. On our next episode, we're going to show you how to make veggie fajitas.
Another good one to try for sure.
Yeah. So until next time, good luck on your journey and seize the veg.
Have a great day, guys.